think we might be ready to go. Just going to try to put the microphone somewhere where you can hear me. All right, let's see. Cool, let's transition. How's everybody doing today? I am your host, Steven Anderson. No, welcome. I'm excited to be on right now. So right now, what I want to do, I have this fur brush that I'm trying to develop, and I'm wanting to develop it from the standpoint of being able to work on this guy and getting him to be further along, making it so that he has more of like a stylized fur coat. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, and then this is just an IMM brush that'll be available to my patrons on Patreon, as well as to anybody who wants to buy it just a la carte through ArtStation or Gumroad or CubeBrush or wherever you buy your assets and brushes from. So that'll be kind of the plan, kind of working on these two things in tandem. Okay, let me show you kind of what it is that I have right now. Turn on solo mode. So this is just a clump to kind of test the idea, test the look. And it's coming. I think it's a little bit too thin, a little bit too wispy. So here are my different clumps that I've gone through and created to be able to make this brush. I want to go through and actually kind of push these, make them so that they're a little chunkier. Like I was saying a second ago, they're a little bit too wispy. So let's do it. And then one of the other things I want to pay attention to is how these are sitting if you look at them along the side, because essentially when I create the brush, I'll be creating it like this so that it drags out and it's sticking out from the surface like this. I don't think this is quite exactly what I'm going to want. And so we're going to, let's actually stick with this one for right now. What I'm going to do, I want to kind of add volume underneath it so that it feels more like it's filling in the underside better. So I'm going to pull this out. Oh, and if you're a member of the Patreon group, I have a Discord, a specific Discord channel for anybody who's interested in getting on and chatting live. But yeah, so yeah, it should be fun. So if you're interested in jumping into the chat and you're a member of the Patreon crowd, there you go. To turn on my volume. Actually, what I'll do is I'll probably plug in my headphones so that I can hear without having to get any kind of weird audio feedback. Do that. All right. Come on, you. There we go. Now, one of the things that I think could be cool to experiment with is possibly taking this brush and turning it into some sort of nano mesh or something like that, and seeing if that would get me kind of more of an automated fill. I don't know that. Oh, gosh, eyelashes always bug me, and it's always during stream. I don't know how well I can get it to work, because if you're to do a random distribution, it's not going to go through and fill it in nicely. You'll get weird overlap. You'll get all sorts of weird things happening. So, so I don't know that nano mesh will be the right way to go, but it might be worth exploring and seeing, testing some of the settings. Okay, so let's get that point. For anybody just tuning in, just going through and working on developing this this fur brush. It'll be available to anybody on the Patreon groups of brush collectors and higher, and it will also be available a la carte through ArtStation and QBrush and Gumroad. So yeah, should be pretty fun. Hey Jan. Yeah, it would be cool if it works. I don't know that it will, but hopefully we could get something. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Because going through and taking this and dressing like the whole surface of this bad boy, I mean, that's going to be a pain. I mean, really, I only have to worry about this shawl and this headdress, and the boots with the fur. I forgot the apple bottom jeans though. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of test it out and see if I can get anything efficient. You know what? I'm gonna try giving it a wider base instead of being such a narrow piece going into thick then back to narrow. Let's try giving it something a little bit wider. Let's fill in the bottom area. How you been doing, Jan? It's been like a week since we've chatted. Let me see. I'm gonna try to play with the way that these curves kind of nest inside of each other. It's always kind of nice to play with like a variation and flow, because what happens is it always yes. What happens is that if you kind of change the way that the flow, and you have kind of pieces that are going kind of thick to thin to thin to thick again, it's kind of it creates this rhythm and this flow that's really kind of appealing. It can be really appealing. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to create that through the way that these edges in the strands and the chunks themselves kind of come together. So you see we got like this ridge, this peak right here kind of coming down here. It's sort of parallel to this, so we might go through and kind of let's change it a little bit. Let's get a little bit more of like a thin to thick to thin sort of thing going on here. So that's pretty appealing. That's pretty cool. And let's. Oh, that was a little bit too much there on the bottom area. Okay, so getting a little bit of this sort of stuff going on in here as well. Cool. Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing pretty well. Let's see. I'm trying to play with that shape, with that basic little shape. It's there's something about it. It's not quite feeling right. What to say? Let me see. I'm going to post to the socials. Let's turn the mask on. Mask, nose, shoulder belt. No, turn the shoulder belt off because it's pretty bad. Just to let people know that I don't want that to be on me. Oh, here. Instead of doing it like that, let's do it like this. I'm going to go ahead and do kind of like a little boomerang. Okay. So now we got that, and then I'm just going to make it so that people can swipe up. Let's say youtube.com/smartist. And to do some crazy things to get that to work right, but it's definitely worth having. Oh, that's interesting. And Instagram's been changing their features lately, so it's like I can go in and I can I don't know. You can go and check it out. I guess it's probably the same for you guys, but the way that the text and everything works right now, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, let's see. Let us see. Okay, so now we've got that going. Okay, so we've got that. We've got this. Let's see if we can get something. You know what? I think looking at it from this angle, I'm trying to decide if I like having that big of a valley right here. Let's raise this area up. Oops. Going to make sure that that ridge stays there, but I want to I just want to make sure that it's higher so that it's visible, so that it's not as uneven. Let's come over here. There's this really cool feature, this mask edge loop partial, that allows me to just go through and just mask an edge loop partial, and it's really nice. I use that a ton. See, maybe I should get some music going on. There was a, let me see. some royalty-free music in here. We'll check that out, and we'll check this out. Like it's pretty it's competing pretty heavily with my audio. Yeah, let me know if it's too loud or whatnot. We'll see. Let me know if that changes at all. Yeah, it looks like it's still pretty loud. So yeah, let's try that. See if that works. If it's too loud, I'll try to figure it out some more. That's better? Oh, good. Okay. Let's do that then. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to go ahead and hit delete, and then I actually want to go through and kind of use this as my new one. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as my new brush for clumps 02. Is there birds in my music? Yeah, let's rename this so that it is 01. And then Control Shift D. So that way we've got our stable one. And then I'm going to take this one and make it favor the left. Okay, I'm going to have a 1, 2, and a 3. And in fact, let's just go through Control Shift D to duplicate that, so that we've got our 1, 2, and 3. I might make more. In fact, I might make some like really heavy chunks, because there will be some spots where I feel like it'll be good to have something that's really pretty broad, just to be able to get areas of detail versus areas of rest in the sculpt, in the actual model. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this and we're going to play with it. Okay, let's see. So there are a couple things we can do to just immediately give it a little bit more of that kind of favoring that left side a little bit. We can just use that transpose line, kind of slide everything over a little bit. Let's take this. We're gonna make it favor. Maybe we'll have it start over here. Get something like that kind of going on. I don't like that though. I don't like that weird orzo sort of shape going on there. Let's play with this a little bit in the way that it kind of leads into it. Yeah, let's take this point, just kind of swing it over. So this is all going to be about kind of experimenting to figure out kind of what shapes we want to have in there. And it might even add in, let's give it a little bit more length right here. Okay, let's take this over. Let's kind of swing these points over so that it can, there we go. That way it's breaking up that shape a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Trying to check it from different angles to kind of see what I like and what I don't like. And then what we can do is we can kind of like scroll between, you know, like here's 1, here's 2, and kind of see what it is that we like and we don't like. I think what I want to do, let's just kind of give this a little bit more girth. And this might be favoring this side, but we can still take this and maybe give it a little bit more separation. Just do something like that maybe. So we got this, which is a little bit wider. Let's actually make this one a little bit wider too. Here, let's use the move brush. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason I didn't go into a singing career. Because I'm much better at sculpting. Okay, let's say something like that for right now. Now, this might be something too. Hey Martin, how you doing? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I'm doing pretty well. You know, just kind of jamming out to some royalty-free music and sculpting some ZBrush, you know. As one does. How about you? Oh, you know what? Let's try something a little bit different. Maybe if we had like... That might be a little bit too windy though. What if I were to have it so that it was more just like one side kind of chunky and then the other side was just kind of weighted to, you know. That's kind of cool. But I want to add another ridge in here to kind of break this up a little bit. This is a little bit too A little bit too flat, a little bit too even. Preparing some things to bake on Substance. That'll be cool. Yeah, so for those of you who don't follow Martin, you got to go check out his stuff. Martin Carrillo. Got a great art station, a great Instagram account. Go check him out. Let me see. Let's see if I can find your page real quick. Let's kind of pull this up. And then we'll go. There we go. Let's share that bad boy. Yeah, go check out Martin. Give him a follow. Check that out. Super cool stuff. Great stylized characters, lots of texture, lots of interest and shape and everything. So go check that out. Really cool page. Okay? Let's see. Let's see. Not sure how much I like this song. I'm gonna skip it. This is kind of cool. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna come in here, insert an edge loop, maybe about right there, then insert another one next to it, and let's crease these. There we go. That looks better. So now we got this, and we got this. They're all kind of pointing in the same direction. So kind of make it so this is more pointing off to that side. Give us a little bit more variation here. Okay, let's try this out now. Okay, one of the things I'm trying to figure out is if this sort of shape works, having it kind of like that being the flat point, and maybe making it actually flat could be beneficial. Let's do that. Okay. So now we got those flat points right there. Down to there, and then for the third one, Okay. So let's try this out. See how it goes. I am predicting that these will not be enough as is, and I might have to try some sort of combination of like adding in multiple clumps to a single insert. So I mean, let's try it out and see, just for the sake of knowing rather than just speculating. Try splitting up the base a little bit. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go to this top one. And then let's turn it on. Okay. Make sure I have perspective turned off. I'm looking at it the way that I want it to be drawn out on the mesh. Brush, create insert mesh, new. Okay, so now I've got this fur clump 1. Just gonna go down, brush, create insert mesh, append, skip until the next restart. And same thing, brush, create insert mesh, append. So now I've got these 3 pieces on this single brush. Okay, so let's go check this out and see if it works. I'm gonna try taking my brush to about the size that I want these clumps to be drawn out at, and then I'm just gonna click and drag, and then I'm gonna hold Control. It doesn't look bad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, let's start at the end here. I'm gonna try to keep in mind kind of the directionality of the flow of these pieces. I'm going to start with these clumps 2 and 3 to start off with. Come on, something like that. Turn on the gizmo and kind of pull it into place. Let's see if we can get... So one of the things that it looks like we're running into is just the overlap. Kind of the way that these pieces are kind of playing. I feel like they're kind of too short and stocky, and they're going too horizontal. Let me see. Well, it's like, so with this other piece, to be able to make like these big patches, it was essentially like I would drag out the piece, and then I'd use the move brush to kind of like massage it into its place a little bit. I think that might actually just be the way to go. Okay. Take this and center it. I actually kind of want to, I think the thinner look a little bit better. So I'm just going to kind of go in here, pull this in. For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and append these to the same brush that I have. I think that might be easiest instead of going through and and just trying to make a new brush every time. I can just go through and I can delete old pieces if I want to. So, I'll have to play with it. Yeah, see, so you just kind of click and drag out that piece, and then you can use your move brush to kind of pull it into place. Yeah, let's go ahead and mess that out. In fact, I might even take this piece. Oh, that's the one that's the solid chunk. So let's take this, and we're just gonna kind of tear it off a little bit so that it flows the opposite direction. This song is called "Spring in My Step" by Silent Partner. Hey John, how you doing? Just working on trying to develop my own fur brush. So far, it's real fun. This has been a tricky brush to develop. I've developed my own curly hair brush. I've developed my own rope brush, and those ones are tricky to do. But this is so much more difficult because I'm having to deal with pieces that are all separate, but that they're all kind of moving harmoniously, Yeah, come on, where's my... There we go. Okay, so that's kind of the start of that. So now, in order to keep this going, we're just going to keep this brush open. Bring it back up to about the size. Kind of position that about right. And maybe it's a matter of like dragging out different ones, because I mean it's like I've got the 6 pieces on there. Maybe the 6 pieces will work together nicely. Use move topological, turn off dynamic. Dynamic mode really just, it's nice, but it's like I'd much rather not have to mess with it. I'll just kind of vary up some of these clumps a little bit. This is what'll help to give you a little bit more of that organic sort of look. It's like the purpose of this brush is mostly just placement, just getting the pieces there. But once you go in and place them, that's where you can go through and actually tailor them to your needs. So that'll be the kind of the big idea. There'll still be some work to it, okay, but it'll be something that should be fairly usable. I'm actually going to try, since I've got this section right here, I'm just going to take that and let's just control drag it so that it's duplicated. Then I'll probably add in an extra little insert down here so that it's not so bare. Even though it's a bear pelt, it's gonna be less bear. Okay, it's gonna pull that down and in, pull that over. Trying to decide if I want to go through and like pull an auto polygroups. It might be helpful. See, it's like it's feeling too chunky. So it's like I feel like what I think is happening with this particular brush, and what may be worth doing rather than doing something this in this method. I don't know. Let me see. I gotta really kind of look at this and see how I feel about this. Because let me see. So I mean, I've got my original kind of fur clumps brush that I developed and used to be able to create this clump, which I feel like works pretty well. I mean, this clump I feel like works pretty well, but it almost feels more like matted hair, like wet hair versus fur. So I'm trying to figure out kind of how to make that work. The Sumerian king has entered the room. Yeah, I think maybe I'll just keep this brush the way that it is. You know what? Let's do this. We're gonna say split hidden, hide that, and then let's just go through and develop it. Let's just kind of go through and just do it using the doing the brush that I had originally built, because I think that this works a little bit better. I think that the I mean, yeah, I was complaining about the wispiness, but you know, whatever. How you doing, Mike? So yeah, just for anybody who's recently joining, I'm working on kind of developing my fur clumps brush, which will be available possibly even today. I'm still trying to go through and kind of work through it a little bit. Trying to make sure that I got kind of like these shape issues resolved, make sure that I understand the workflow to recommend, because this is something that I've wanted to be able to do for a long time, is be able to create like a good stylized fur, specifically so that I could create this guy and actually really do him justice, you know. because I really like the way that this design turned out. And so, yeah, so that's kind of the idea, is going through and using this brush to build out his fur throws, um, his boots with the fur. Left out the apple bottom jeans. I know I used that joke earlier, but some people weren't here for that, so. Oh, good. I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. I am doing all right. And yeah, I'm pretty pretty happy. Pretty happy. Just playing with some fur, playing with some ZBrush. So yeah, since the clumps have the different pieces, you can go through and you can kind of tear out the little pieces, vary it up per chunk, kind of as much as you want. Okay. So much work, but it's gonna look so cool. Now, a lot of people will go through and do something more like this, where they, take a chunk and then they'll sculpt it out. Oh, it's got subdivision levels. Okay, they'll go through and they'll sculpt it out. They'll make it all nice and pretty, and they'll get like really cool fur details. Just kind of like sculpting this in or whatever, and then they'll try Z-meshing it, and Z-meshing it. Yeah, I mean that could work. But all of my technique, like my whole reason in going through and developing brushes with clean topology, is so that I can have a clean result at the end. So yeah, I mean, you go through and you can sculpt out fur and then Z-mesh, but it's not gonna be as nice. Just kidding, it might be pretty nice. Yeah, going through and just playing with this, making sure that it works on a let's go through here and kind of put this in place. Yeah, making sure that it works on kind of a broad application before I release it. I'm just going to broaden this out a little bit. I've decided I need to start keeping a hat in my in my car. Boy, salud. Yeah, definitely trying to vary it up, make it feel more natural. It's like as you go along, you'll start to get more of a natural feel. It definitely takes some real tweaking. I wonder if there's a better way to do it. I'm still thinking if there's a good way to go through and kind of tweak this brush so that it so that there's less manual change at the end. something like this. Because like at a certain point, you can go through and kind of duplicate the whole thing without getting too much of a feeling of like it's been duplicated. Like right here is kind of nice because there's enough of a spacing between this clump, this area, and this area. That was the original. Okay, so now we're getting this sort of thing, and it's starting to feel more full. What I might do at the end. Let me do this just to test it. Come over here to deformation, and let's just inflate it a little bit. So round out the tips. But let's see. Yeah, because when you hit the dynamic smooth, it kind of brings it into kind of more of a fur look. And I like that. I like that. Okay, so we'll undo that. Okay. And let's try dragging the whole thing up. Just gonna kind of push and pull this until it fits. Now I don't know what I'll be able to do for this other side. It might be, I might be able to do this. Let's try this. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use my move brush and kind of pull this down and in. Try to figure out different how to make this feel like it interfaces well. Yeah. So look at that. Now we're getting this nice fur pattern. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll play with this piece right here. Just had kind of a weird kink in it. This next song is called Oh Na Na. So I've actually tried doing the nano mesh at one point. Let me show you kind of what it is that happens. Let's say I went ahead and duplicated it, so don't be don't be totally frightened by my deleting hidden on that. Let's go ahead and take this. Let's say create nanomesh. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Okay, hit all polygons. Oh, that looks so fuzzy. Okay, let's see if we can work this. Okay, let's change the size down a little bit. One of the hard things is that the directionality is kind of odd. So, oh, there we go. Aligned to normal worked pretty well for me right there. Random, no alignment, aligned to normal. Let's keep it on aligned to normal for right now. And then we'll turn on our random seed. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do some width and length and height variations. And we'll give it some rotation variation as well. Oh, not the X. Let's see. Yeah, I mean it's that's kind of what it's getting me. Excuse me for a second. I think I gotta go blow my nose or something. Feeling a bit congested. All right. Oh, did my music already stop? Oh, bummer. Okay, next set. Ooh. There we go. But yeah, so anyway, nanomesh. I think this is the reason why nanomesh isn't going to really work super well for me. I mean, I could go through and I could say clipboard. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that or even tried it. That's really weird. Let's see. There we go. Now it looks like a Dior dress. Yeah, so let's see. Well, and it might even be worth trying to just have it so that it's aligned. Let's make it smaller. I wish there was a way to be able to make it so that I could get like a random choice of pieces in here. I mean, I know that I can go like this. I can essentially say this and go to geometry, convert BPR to geo, and then essentially split that out. And then I can say, let's pick this one. Same thing, go through the same process. Not there, nanomesh. Yeah, align to normal. Come on, align to normal. And then let's see. Bring the size down just a smidge. Random distribution. Give myself a little bit of variation. No, I don't want that the offset variation. I want the rotation variation. And then let's just change the random seed so that we can maybe dress some more of the bare spots. I don't like this. Let's see. Right there, let's try that. Same thing, geometry, convert BPR to geo, subtool, split hidden. And then, I mean, you start getting kind of like building it up, but the Mesh network in Maya. Never tried that one. Never tried that. In fact, that was one of the plugins I think that I uninstalled because I didn't know what it did. But yeah, I mean, this sort of thing, I guess, is starting to get you somewhere. You know, merge that down. It's starting to get you somewhere. Oh, here, let's hide that. But yeah, it definitely takes it'll definitely still take a lot of work trying to clean that up and make it so that it's quite what you want. And it doesn't feel as organic too. So that's kind of tricky. But yeah, like you're saying, it's worth a try. Let's go back up to this, unhide everything. Hey John, do you know of anywhere where they might have a good video about using the Mesh network in Maya? I'd be interested in trying it, but I've never. I mean, it's a pretty new thing, correct? Let's go through and kind of play with how this is. It's floating off of the chest too much in that other side. So right now, I mean, everything's got this kind of weird like separation on the back. You've used it for chains, huh? That's interesting. Okay, so is it that sort of thing where it's just about like repetitive patterns and those sorts of things? Yeah, I guess we could let's look it up. Let's see what it does. For motion graphics, how to use mesh dynamics. I'm going to pause music.
Hey guys, and welcome back. Well, I received one question over and over and over. Can you do a tutorial on Mesh in Maya? So that's what we're going to do today, okay? So here we go. Right guys, well, we're in Maya 2018 and it's time that we take a look at Mesh, okay? So first of all, what we need is an object to work with, right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to simply create a polygon cube. Come on, yeah, create polygon cube. Let's hit R and stretch that out a little bit, so it kind of looks like a, I don't know,
stick of butter.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Mesh to create an instance network. All right. So what is an instance? An instance is something slightly different than a copy. And it's not something that is new to Maya. If we go to edit and duplicate special option box, you can see that there's an option to copy an object or to instance an object. Okay. And if you copy an object, you will get a duplicate that has the same properties as the original and so forth. And if I change that one, the other one would not change. An instance, however, is a kind of a I don't know how to explain it, but it's,
ghost
let me put it this
copy.
way. If I instance this into 10 copies and I change the original, the instance will change as well, okay? That's basically how that works. All right, so we got this object and we want to use Mash to create an instance network. Now, Maya has a special Mash workspace. So instead of working in Maya Classic, we're going to go in and we're going to go to the Mash workspace. And once we do that, we get a lot of stuff on our screen. So what is all that stuff? Well, on the right-hand side, we have our
Okay, we'll check out what it is that
like
he's.
button, and if you want to
ends
see
up
more
with.
videos in the future, make sure you subscribe, okay?
Make sure you
Well,
subscribe.
thank you very much for
So he's
watching,
got, like,
guys, and see you guys later.
A
Bye.
bunch of pieces scattered all over the floor.
Create a new
Like,
one.
he took all the sticks of butter and just
Look
like
for that. W, yeah. R to scale up, all right. So now that we have that, let's give this another go. I'm gonna hit play, let's see what happens. And there we go. And as you can see, nothing happens between the cubes and the sphere. For the simple reason that, again, we are using a bullet solver that controls our dynamics, and we need to tell the bullet solver that suddenly there's a sphere in play and it needs to interact with it, okay? So we're going to go into our into our outliner, sorry.
Okay.
We're going to select the bullet solver, which will give us this layout right here. And what you see is that there's a window called Collider Objects. So I want something here
Oh, yes, I
to
see.
be added, so
Okay.
it will collide with my objects that have a bullet solver attached. And in
Just
this
like,
case, that
what?
is my sphere. So I'm going to middle mouse click and drag and drop it into that window. And there we go. So now
now
let's
we play the
hit play once
collide.
more. Let's see what we got.
Make that butter hit that sphere. Oh, ho, ho,
And
ho.
as you can see,
Butter
they
sphere.
are perfectly interacting with my cube.
Add some Arnold shaders.
Right,
with some
so one
translucency.
more thing I
Boom.
want to show you. What if you want to keyframe the object that is interacting with our blocks here, okay? Now,
Let's see if I can find something that's more useful. Maya guy. That's kind of a cool YouTube name. I'm not, or username. Oh, it looks like there's a lot of stuff here. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. Mesh animation and dynamics. Yeah, because like there's some things I want to try to play around with dynamics in Maya anyway. So I mean, it could be worth my going over and digging around a little bit. The grass one probably would be good. That's a good point, John. Let's check that. I mean, I'll probably like skip through it a bunch.
Okay, so welcome to another new tutorial in Maya. As promised, this is going to be a special tutorial. The first thing that I am going
terrain
and what I want
grass.
to do is loop this animation. In terms of looping animation,
Oh,
we
this
have
one's actually
another
like using it to
simple,
create an
but
animation. Is
the
he
repo
actually?
is actually a mesh. So actually,
Okay.
when Mesh is creating all of these objects, it's creating copies and creating its own little mesh. So everything is contained inside of here, which is very handy because this should render out in Arnold or in any other renderer that would support geometry. Now it's
I wonder
important
if he's from
that
Belgium
we
or
know
something.
that here in the outliner, my grass geo still exists.
'Cause he
The
kind of
original
has
object
like
is
a
still there.
European accent.
But
Kind of fun.
what happens is that it's hidden away, and if I press Shift H, I can always useful mesh nodes or mesh effects, you could say, in order to create kind of like a
So you can go through
thinner
and distribute
piece,
it on the surface.
little boost of performance. I want to find a way of transitioning between, if I turn my orient node off, I want to go from here and turn this on in a controlled manner,
This
just
is
like
interesting.
this.
This is
So
actually
to
really
do that,
interesting.
fortunately enough, in Mesh, we've got these wonderful little things called fall-off objects. And if I choose a fall-off object over here, and I right-click on the fall-off object area and hit Create, it will create this little series of spheres, which are inside of here. Now, this fall-off object, we can scale up using the Scale tool. And what happens is that you'll see that we get this little movable object which as we move it across the scene, you're going to see that it's going to affect the grass. And this,
Interesting.
again in animator mode, is very much what I was trying to create, of kind of like seeing kind of like a sudden gust of wind rippling through here and seeing all of the pieces of grass just flutter in that direction. Very cool. So what I want to do is have this little fall off object, and if I want it to be bigger or smaller, I should be able to select the fall off mesh object inside of the outliner over here, and you can see that I can change
cool.
the way that this fall off works.
This is
the
cool.
Inside over here.
I'll have to check this out more later. I think this is definitely worth watching. I mean, it's 4 years old, but I mean, how much can software change from year to year, especially Maya, right? So, yeah. That was total tongue-in-cheek, by the way, because Maya has changed. Like, so I started with Maya 6, I think. It's either like Maya 5 or Maya 5.5 or something like that, or 6. And yeah, it was I remember, like, especially in those early days, it changed a lot every time a new release came. ZBrush has stayed the same over, UI wise. Everything is very similar. Everything's very recognizable. It's hard to get lost in ZBrush. Oh shoot, I don't want that. There was somebody moving in the yard behind our house, and I thought it was like a bird or a lizard or something. But Maya had, especially in those early days, like I was saying, has gone through tremendous amounts of UI change and redesign and renaming and just going to go through and kind of play with that a little bit. Play with some of these pieces, make sure that they all fit together and play nicely together. Man, I really wish I could just, go out, take my family nice places. This coronavirus has been total jerk. I hate 2020. Let's go ahead and play with this a little bit, play with some of this placement so that it fits together more organically. It's like one of the twicky things. I should just do a stream where I'm talking in like toddler speech. One of the tricky things is that the thing over here is really tricky. No, it's hindsight is, don't you dare say hindsight is 2020. Just feels like that'll be a line in a movie at some point. And then since I've set this publicly on recorded video, I can go ahead and I can copyright it. It is copyrighted. It is my saying. Oof, that felt bad. Alright. Pull that up. That'll help to kind of fill in that area there. Okay, just kind of playing with placement. Because that's how we do. Oh, you know what? Let's get that music started back up. Because music. Otherwise, it's just kind of quiet. It's always important to check things from different angles. Like I know that if I were to go ahead and if I were to go ahead and render this from a different side, I mean, it might not, it won't look the same. So I'm trying to check and make sure that if, you know, even though it won't look the same, I'm trying to make sure that it at least looks good. Let's pull that down. Inspirational epic drone by Infaction. It's kind of funny the names, the titles they come up with for their music. And yeah, I get it. If I were watching drone footage with this playing in the background, I'd be like, I want a drone. But now instead I'm using it for people to be like, I want a fur brush. This one's pretty epic though, I'm not gonna lie. The bookmark it. Save it for entrance. What would I put that on? I'll put it on watch later. That works. That is definitely a lot of clumps. But it's working. It's working pretty well. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to take the clumps and let's go. Let's try something first. Nah, that doesn't work. Okay, let's do this instead. Let's try mirroring it and see if this will get me kind of what I need for this side. Yeah, it's feeling all right. I could do with that. And we'll just shove it into place. The main triangle base piece is really just something for me to draw out on, and it's a rough guide for the shape that I want to get. Let's just kind of push and pull this and see if we can get what we want out of it. That feels pretty good. The part that I see as being a potential trouble spot is this shoulder piece, where I'm going to need to start taking the fur and kind of transitioning it so it goes the other direction. In fact, I might need to just kind of get rid of the fur up here along the top, just because it's already kind of feeling weird. I think part of that is just because of the way that I bent it. So let me do this. Let me undo. Yeah, let's just get rid of it. Okay. Let's say everything maybe down to about right there. And I want to keep the orange, the base piece. Might not be pretty, but you know, it's usable. And it's useful. Okay, so let's get that. So now we got this front piece here. Let's get rid of what we hid. Yeah, it's starting to work. Just kind of clean up some of these shapes. Some of them have like some weird little kinks in them, and I don't want to have weird kinks. I want it to flow nicely. I want it to feel pretty natural. I feel like if it has too much kink, you see, like it just feels a little bit too wavy to me. So I'm just gonna kind of take that out a little bit. Push that down so that it's underneath. I'm going to take the clumps from the front and bring them onto the back. Okay, let's come over here, deformation. Did it work? Mirror. Okay, there we go. Rotate it around 180 degrees. And let's place it. Look at that. Most of that back is already done. Make a nice big brush so we can make broad changes. That should help us to get a minimal amount of deformation, of like bad deformation that we don't want. this hood piece. It's going to need to come out some to be able to kind of accommodate the size of that shoulder throw, which is fine. It's going to need to come up too. Which is also fine. Let's turn on that piece. Where did it go? Where did it go? 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 Must be up then. Shoulder pelt. There we go. Okay, so that's cool. Let's take something like this. Oops. That might be too much, actually. Here, let's do like half of that. Now we can go ahead, just to make sure, wanted to make sure all those pieces were, oops. There we go. Push this into place. So rendering for this guy, I will probably end up finishing him and taking him over into Maya. I have been using KeyShot a little bit more lately, mostly because I had some projects I needed to render out that I needed to have a little bit more ease in developing materials and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather render them out inside of what's it called? Inside of Maya, just because I feel like it gives me more flexibility. Yeah, with Arnold, I really like the flexibility I get through Arnold. So yeah, and that's kind of the plan for now. Oh, too small. It's funny, you can hear like the audible watermark sound in the background in this one. It's kind of funny. we're gonna need to kind of make it so that this transitions from like front to back. And the best way to do that is to make it so that it's like it's got a radial point right here, I think. We'll try it. We'll see how we like it. Which means I might end up having to get rid of some of these pieces here on the edge. But we'll see. I'm just gonna kind of tweak and see if I can kind of change directionality on these a little bit. So far it's kind of working. Yeah, Arnold is really pretty useful. I like it because it's really pretty simple to use. In fact, maybe I'll work on kind of developing a little bit of a tutorial series on that specifically. It's fairly simple. I don't know. I'm not like the most well versed, but I mean I'm good at using it to be able to showcase stylized characters. There's some nice simple things about it, like the way that it can take HDRI maps for environment lighting, the way that it handles like actual physical lighting, and the way that it handles your roughness maps, specular maps, and everything. It's very simple to plug in, just as you would with any other sort of process inside of Maya. But yeah, it just looks nice. It looks really nice with a minimal amount of effort. But it offers you all the control of using actual lighting, actual material properties, things like that. So much nicer than getting like automated box results out of like Keyshot. That's my personal preference, is doing things inside of Maya, but it's not always possible because it does take more time. Whereas with Keyshot, you have smart materials that are kind of plug and play. You plug it in and hit play, and it's really pretty much ready to go. I mean, there are some times where you got to go through and kind of tweak your settings, like your texture sizes and things like that in Keyshot. And the lighting works really pretty nicely, and that you get really decent results. You get really decent results fairly easily with just basic environment-based lighting. And so I really like that about Keyshot. But yeah, I mean, I just, it's not as easy to manipulate. Yeah. And for you, Martine, Mr. Martin, let me see. Drag this up. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's not a Maya thing, but it's kind of interesting. Texturing characters with Arnold. We were watching video from him a second ago, so I mean that could be worth watching. how to light and render in Maya using Arnold for demo reel. Oh, that's not bad. Let's add to watch later. I'll shoot you guys the link on that one. Yeah, using like basic area lights, talking about 3-point lighting, which is really handy. Not as good as I was hoping for, but Blender and ZBrush. Yeah, it's like a lot of the things that are coming out lately are Blender centric because there's so many people that are so into Blender. So there we go. Render and shading realistic skin in Arnold. That's kind of the style of stuff that John does. John Foley over on Twitch. Doing like really cool, like realistic type stuff lately. Intro to Arnold, premium tutorial. Yeah, Flip Normals has some cool stuff sometimes. I'm trying to think. This skin shader one, if I remember right, was actually pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find the. It's like everything's either strictly ZBrush or strictly Blender. It's funny how like when I ask for Maya, Blender shows up. Not cool. Hey Niffer, how you doing? Go ahead and place these pieces over here, kind of fill in this bare spot. Let's pull this strand, this little clump here down. Let's separate this out a little bit. Oh, you're working on a realistic character too? That's pretty cool. What type of character are you working on, Nipper? I'm not going to worry about that part that's underneath this head pelt. Let's turn off the mask. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm kind of on the ready to work on something other than fur now. How long have we been streaming? Spicer! How you doing, dude? You started streaming on the Pixelogic channel recently, right? You liking it? Did you have your first stream yet? pretty fun being able to. That might be a little bit too high. You start on the 16th. Awesome. So Spicer McLeroy is awesome. Gotta let me plug you. Have they made your page yet on the ZBrush Live page? Presenters. Let's see where they got you. Let's see, set on. Spicy McSpicer. Oh, it looks like they haven't got you up there yet. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. At least you got an art station. This is some of the stuff that Spicer's done. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite pieces that he's done. I love this Psylocke. Check that out. Look at how awesome that is, and that dragon in the background is like so cool. So yeah. Oh, I haven't even. Good grief. I'm finding out like how many people that I haven't followed yet. So yeah, there you go. I love this dragon. This is great. Brilliant sculpting. There we go. Now I can find it later. Yeah, so Spicer. Go check him out. And then on the 16th, what time are you going to be streaming? Nine o'clock Central. All right. So at 9 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Pacific. Okay, on the 16th. Okay, so that'll be cool. Tune into that. He is, like you saw, super phenomenal sculptor. Does really great stuff. Will you be focusing on more like comic book type characters, or what do you think your main theme for your I guess your bit? What's your stream title? It's like when I have my streams on the Pixelogic channel, it's called No Spare Time. Because it's all the spare time that I can really like pull out. Let's do something like that. Enter the ZBHO dojo. You'll probably say something fancy like, "Enter the ZBHO dojo." You know. Anyway. Dude, have fun teaching. Thanks for tuning in for a minute. It's good to hear from you. Oh, it's not that I don't have any spare time because I have too many clients. It's because I don't have enough clients. It's just kind of it's the name of the challenge. So no spare time is the name of the art challenge that I run on Patreon and on Instagram and Facebook. It's the No Spare Time Art Design Challenge, and it's really just kind of aimed at like creating something quickly and having something, um, having something to challenge yourself in. Be able to pull out a design idea, try something new, whatever it may be. So, for instance, this last month, in No Spare Time, the theme was charred. That was the theme that people voted on in my Patreon page, and I was crazy. This month's theme, by the way, is myster. Oh my goodness, it's imaginary friend. It's like, what's the word for it? Imaginary friend. So I need to actually go through and create that banner, but yeah, imaginary friend. So last month's theme was charred, and I decided to go ahead and use that opportunity to both sculpt some wood and try to make it like sculpt lava and fire on it. So what I created for it, yeah, let's go ahead and save this. I don't think I've saved this whole stinking time. Go into Amon, save that. Okay, load tool. No spare time. I guess I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, turn off solo. So here's my piece for No Spare Time. And I really wanted to try to push like stylized wood. So you can see like I got really kind of like twirly whirly in there. Just trying to like play with shape, push form, things like that. And then I did the same similar sort of idea with the fire, except that it doesn't have as much ornate sort of twists and turns to it. The whole idea is to try to make it feel like it's this like demon hell horse sort of thing. So yeah, just fun, just something fun. But I really wanted to play with sculpting fire, making it feel very, very flowy and fun, So yeah, let's see. So yeah, that's what I did last month. What is this? Shoulder belt. Okay, we're good. Okay. How long have we been streaming? We've been on for a little while now, right? Thing doesn't tell me. Got to get onto actual like Twitch or something. Let's see. Started streaming 112 minutes, so it's almost been 2 hours. Not bad. Okay, so this sort of piece, because of the leather underneath, it should be pretty, not necessarily rigid, but it shouldn't have a whole lot of flex to it. So like when he puts his arms down or when he puts his arms up, I'm hoping I can make that feel correct without having to totally screw it up each time I want to repose it. I think I have like 2 poses that I want to do with this guy. One that's just kind of neutral, kind of, arms down sort of pose. But then I also want to do one where it's more whatchamadiggits, more kind of like he's like sending forth, some sort of, which is really kind of stepping away from his character. I don't know, maybe I'll do one where it's kind of like on his side and he's kind of like reaching out toward the camera, where he's got like that, that Amon fist, the Amon hand, I don't know. I'll have to see kind of what it is that we do with that. Let's see. Pull that down some. Just trying to like fill in holes and things like that. And then bear in mind, I mean, kind of what I want to be able to do at some point is just kind of take this. I want to take the deformation. I'm going to hit inflate a little bit, something like that, and that gives a little bit more of a fur feel rather than like a clumped hair sort of feel, and it'll fill in the gaps a little bit better, things like that. Okay, now I'm not going to do that quite yet because I still need it to be uniform. But yeah, we're getting there. Okay, let's pull out that hairbrush, that fur brush. So generally speaking, what I want to try to do when I'm building out these clumps is to start kind of toward the end and work back. The reason is because wherever I place, if I start here at the back and work my way toward the end, it's going to make it so that I have an uneven surface to draw pieces out on, and so it's a lot easier to just kind of draw it out here. In fact, to a certain point, what we might be able to do, I'll just keep drawing out the one side, and then what I think I can do is I can duplicate that and then mirror it over to the other side. That way I don't have to worry about doing all that work twice. But then I'll go through and I'll still modify it so that it's organic for that side. And there's enough detail in these bits that it shouldn't feel like it's just kind of duplicated over. But yeah. Just kind of drag this over and kind of play with it a little bit. Kind of pull that down. You know what, let's take this piece and just kind of make it so that it's coming out from underneath. That might give it a little bit better of a feel. Similar sort of idea with this strand maybe. And just kind of make it so that they kind of interlace like that. And that way it gets us a little bit of a flow off to the side, just as is. So that way it's kind of prepping the grounds for other pieces. Change the move topological. So it's starting to go in a good direction. Let's take this and make it so it's not so high. Just gets to be a little bit too intense right there. To pull this down. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's starting to be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and I just want to make sure that that's masked. I don't want it to be modified. So let's go ahead, bring this over. So now we got this going on here. I'm going to start using those other kind of side pieces to start to fill in the gaps. Oops. Keep hitting the wrong keyboard shortcut for the move topological brush. Actually, let's drag this over here. Oh, quick save. I should save, by the way. Okay. So now we got that in there. As soon as I finish this shoulder and transfer it over to the other side, I'm going to call it done for now. I'll worry about doing the leather backing at some other point. Yeah, let's see. Let's use this one. It's interesting. I'm not usually one for nostalgia. But I was looking. Well, I wasn't looking. I was thinking about the valley where I grew up the other day, and have been a lot lately. Kind of just wondering, like, how things have changed there because of the pandemic. How things have changed there since, you know, I haven't been there in several years. You know, my family doesn't live there anymore, so I don't really have a reason to go. Yeah, I was thinking about, like, just reaching out on, like, my high school class page on Facebook. Just being like, hey, how are things in the valley? It's a very rural place, or at least it was when I was growing up. When I moved there was only one traffic light in the whole valley. Now they have a Walmart and several traffic lights around just that Walmart. But yeah, so it's just kind of interesting thinking about the way things change. Okay, that's starting to work. Okay, let's kind of break up that shape a little bit by want just this little hair to be unmasked. And then what I want to do is I want to take my transpose line and use the rotate. And I'm just going to use, oh, wrong direction. I'm holding Alt and I'm twisting that hair, but it's twisting not in like a just rotating it. It's going through and it's taking it. It's almost kind of like leaving the base still, and then it's just rotating the rest of it. So it's getting a little bit of a twist to the piece. Hey, Andy. Thanks, dude. I mean, this has definitely been a ton of work, and so hopefully it looks good. I'm definitely going to be excited for this to just be done. Let's see. Here, let's go through and add in one of these. And then we'll adjust it. Just kind of fill in the gaps using some of these other existing pieces. Just kind of pull and push these around a little bit so that it fills in the empty spaces. All right. So now I've got one side done. I'm just going to go ahead and take that, duplicate it over. Because this is how we roll. Probably don't need that many. Oops. I do need more than that though. Let's see if we can get this to be about what we need. Turn that off, make sure we got that whole thing masked. Invert that. Just control click and drag up a little bit, and we'll mirror it over. And we just got to use a big move brush to kind of make it nice and comfy cozy. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I needed. Yes. Kind of scoot that piece over into that window a little bit better. Pull this down, pull that up a little bit. Pull some of these pieces around just a tad. Okay. I think I do need a little bit more up here. So let's fill that spot in some. Let's grab that fur brush again. It's way too big. Just like the brush wants me to be done with this as well. It's like You've been working on this for too long. Stop. So it depends on what kind of character. So I mean, Indy over on Twitch is asking if I always start from a base or if I or do I ever start from nil, from scratch. But it kind of just depends on what it is that I want the character for and what my end result is. So usually, since I'm working on these characters for my own personal gain and for my own interests and whatnot, or for portfolio or whatever, or for art challenges, I'll go through and I'll usually use a base mesh. If I'm doing something just for the heck of it, just fun, trying to explore and experiment, and it's more experimental and conceptual in nature, then I'll go through and actually just use a bunch of Dynamesh and things like that. But yeah, maybe I'll do a blockout process. I'll be streaming on the Pixelogic channel on Friday, so maybe I'll do something more like that on Friday. But yeah, I do that pretty regularly. Last month I did a stream with my friend Mikkel, and in that stream I essentially went through and did just that, whereas like I started from a sphere and just kind of sculpted out. It was all very conceptual. It was all based on a very loose idea of what it is that I wanted to do. And then if I want to, I can go back and I can kind of retopologize that as needed. But yeah, it's all just kind of based on how much time I have and what I need it for, that sort of thing. There we go. Okay, so now that I have that fur in there, it's probably not on my Twitch. It's probably on my YouTube though. Let me see if I can find it. Put it in. Let's go over here, your channel, and then videos, and let me see. Oh, I thought for sure it would be in here. Maybe it's not in here. I might have saved it actually as like a... I might have saved it as a... That's one of the things I really don't like about Twitch, is how it goes through and turns the sound on automatically. So it's like, whatever. Let me see. Let's go over. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Go to channel. Oh, I see myself. Oh, hey, look at that. I thought I had a couple of video highlights and whatnot up here, but maybe I don't. Sorry. I think it got lost. I know you stream for Pixo. How excited are you for 2021? Most excited for the cloth tool, to be honest. Not because I think it's gonna kill Marvelous Designer. It's not. But I think it would be great for simpler stylized characters, like getting more simple physics wrinkles and then hitting it with H polish or something. Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely going to be a really cool workflow. Yeah, the dynamics, I mean, there's so much that you could do with that. I mean, you could go through and you think about things like trash bags or water balloons or chairs, or I don't know, like other things. I mean, they showed in the demo, they showed this cushion, so anything with cushions you could go through and build. Lots of cool stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it. I think that the micropoly stuff is super exciting. I think that the new Z modeler stuff is really exciting. There's a lot coming with this. Oh, I think I deleted my base. Dang it. Oh shoot. I deleted that base. Dang it. Oh, nope, it's still there. It's still there. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I think that those are some of my most exciting parts of the new version of ZBrush. I think it's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to getting to really use it. Yep. Okay. So now I'm going to call this piece done. I'm going to kind of split off this yeah, being able to extrude single-sided polys in ZModeler. Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the things that I've been kind of the most excited about for a long time. Yeah, let's inflate this. Oh, let's see what that looks like. No, that gets to be a little bit too doughy, I think. So maybe instead of 100, let's take it to like somewhere in the 50s. Maybe a little higher. I don't know what to see. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah, I don't know. Trying to decide how much I like that. Because I think what it's getting, it's definitely getting kind of the idea of some clumps, but I feel like the clumps are too broken up. So I think what it needs to happen is there needs to be kind of a unification pass. I went through and I think I split things up like too much. Let's take that and kind of pull this down there or something like that. Pull this over. It does. It feels just like, it feels too messy. Let me see. Which I think might take a lot of work to kind of refine. I'm going to try something. Let me see. Let me try dividing that a couple of times, dynameshing it. Just to see kind of what happens. It might totally screw it up, but we'll see. It's going from 1 million polys to 3 million polys, and see, it totally screwed it up. Wonder why that happened. Interesting. Okay. So this piece, I mean, I'm starting to think that maybe I need to totally rethink these fur chunks. Add more variety and like thicker pieces. Because right now, I feel like it's too fussy. There's too much detail. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a screenshot and take it over into Photoshop. Screenshot, Photoshop. I had to fix the kitchen sink today, and when I was trying to climb underneath the sink to be able to unfasten a couple of screws, I really hurt my neck, and okay, let's see. Okay, so a big part of what I want to be able to do, let's make this a lot smaller, harden that a little bit. I need to be able to kind of solidify some of these areas. Like, generally speaking, I think it needs to be mostly solid. And then I think like around the edges, it needs to kind of break up a little bit, and then you get like these little spots where it's breaking up some too. So I think it's going to end up being, yeah, I guess so. It's going to be kind of more of a matter of taking this, making it more solid, but then using the fur bits to kind of accent the shape. Yeah, I think something like that's going to work better. Well, hello. Actually. Let me see. So yeah, we'll take this. We'll call that kind of more the direction that we want to go with this. But I really kind of like the look specifically up here along the shoulders. Let's turn this off. Let's give this a thumbs up. Oops. That does not look like a thumbs up. And we'll just give it a check mark. Check mark's so much easier to understand, and it's easier to draw. There we go. We'll do it like that. Let's go ahead and flatten it. In fact, maybe let's... Yeah, let's flatten it. And then we'll come over here to Amon. And we will say fur direction. And then we'll call that good. Okay. I'll do another stream at some point when I go through and I actually hey Crystal. I'm actually about to clock out. It's good to see you though. I was going through. I had been working on trying to get this this fur layer to work right, and I think it was starting to kind of work, but it's too fussy. It's like there's too much detail to it. So that's kind of what I was doing right over here inside of Photoshop, was trying to go through and essentially trying to redesign that. And I really like this this area over here, this area a little bit too. But yeah, I really want to kind of be able to play with that sort of look a little bit more in this, because this is too not right. I think it's just going to come into coming to this piece, adding in extrude all polygons, adding in some thickness. Okay, which is already starting to look better. And let's actually come over here and let's say slide edge loop partial. Just kind of pull that down or whatnot so that it's less thick on the ends. But yeah, I mean, essentially what I would do. Just gonna try to kind of play with that some. Control D, and then keep going through and kind of. It looks so hard getting that fur right. I'm glad it's not me. Yeah. Be glad it's not you. Come on, Mick. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna leave this for the next time I'm on. My next Pixelogic stream is coming up this Friday at 8 o'clock Pacific. Okay, so if you're interested in tuning in for that, that's available. That'll be fun. Also, I have a Patreon page if you're interested in jumping in on there too. Anywhere you look, you can find me underneath Smaartist. So feel free to jump on. Find me anywhere you'd like, pretty much. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for now, I think. So yeah, let's go ahead and we will save this. No spare time, I'm on. Let me come over here, say I'm on 2. Might as well, right? Just level it up. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it for right now. I think that I'm having a little bit too much of a I'm thinking about that fur too much, and so I think it's giving me too much trouble. Oh well, Quentin, I'm just now turning off. But it's good to see you, brother. Anyways, thanks to anybody for tuning in, and thanks to my patrons over on Patreon. If you enjoy the stuff I do, feel free to consider supporting me on Patreon a little bit. I've got a great several people that have already joined the Patreon community, and we have some fun. So you can join in there for polls, for special downloads, and other things that some other things that you can't get anywhere else. But yeah, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.